The configuration part is done. We can start to check out how this looks in the Assess Grid, Review page, and finally on the Publish Grade Report itself. Let's start with the Access or Publish page. This has three functionalities. First and foremost, it allows administrators to publish a whole class level's reports in one click. This will be done at the end after the educators have assessed, the peers have reviewed, and that you're ready to publish to everybody's portals. It also means that everyone gets the assessment report at the same time, and it's paperless. But on this page, there are two other fields, notably Educator Access, where you can determine a period when the Assess Grid will be active for the educators. Enter a start and end date for them to complete their course assessments. You may also wish to have student reflections included as part of your assessment build. And equally, you can give a limited period of time for your students to complete their own assessments to be published inside their grade reports. Now, let's move on to the Assess Grid. We're going to use learning outcomes in the first example. We can see that the assessments have already been completed, but not reviewed. Otherwise, the Assess Grid would be grey and educators cannot enter further assessments. Let's move to a future term. To assess, you click in a cell to open the validation and select from the scales shown. These are then applied to the learning outcome within the grid. Use the corner of the cell to drag horizontally or vertically, much like in Excel. There is a second view called List View, which gives more information and full labels, but also has the benefit of showing the learning standards recorded in assignments as evidence. This helps the final assessor to make sure that the assessment is fair and based on key assignments from the assessment period. Let's now look at the Numeric Build, where we add a grade, there is a calculated scale, a stated term grade, and a formula. Here in Q1, we see a grade field and the calculated scale from the score. Change the grade and the scale updates automatically. Just like with the yellows, you can drag and copy across cells. If we look at the final end of year, we see the stated term grades are grey, as they are pulling from each individual term and cannot be edited. The formula calculates as per the weights entered with inside of subject specifications, as we showed in the other video. But if we choose, educators can still override the final calculation if needed. This is then translated into a letter grade with the option to show the original numeric grade enabled. To complete their assessments, then the educators can either do this individually once it has been entered, or they can just drag down the column to complete. It's now ready for reviewing. Before publishing, it is always advisable to review the contributions. You can review by class or course. It is designed for users with security access to the school level. It cannot be restricted further. Select the class and the assessment period, and you will see that the students are set to not reviewed. When the student's report has been reviewed, then this will show along with a timestamp of who and what date this was reviewed on. Once reviewed, then no further contributions can be entered on the Assess Grid. This will be grey for the educators. If we open the Review slide panel, we'll see that the first page is the Overview comment. It's also known as the User Comment field in the Assessment Report Builder. It's used for head of years or for class teachers to be able to enter an overall comment regarding the student's contributions during that assessment period. The Review panel shows the contributions made in the Assess Grid per course, and it will also show the evidences if you have applied these using the assignment module and you are using learning outcomes. You can also change the grades in the Review panel here if you select Edit mode. If you do it this way, then you must save or submit every change, as you will be unable to move to another course when in Edit mode. Once each student has been reviewed, you can have a high-level overview of the class's contributions. This allows you to quickly check if students' grades are missing. You can either edit them yourselves or prompt the relevant educators to update the assess grid by sending a mail. When reviewed, no further contribution can be made on the assess grid, as we said, but to rectify this, then you just reset the review status by setting as draft. Equally, if you want to publish the report card, then these can be done individually on the review panel or by going back to the first page that we used, the publish page, which allows you to do this on a class level. Once the reports have been published, you will see that the status has changed. The reports are now available for your student and guardian population. It's also available for the teachers to consult on the Students Assessment tab. Let's have a look at how students can access their report card. Students and guardians will have access to the My Assessment report, which stores all of the grade reports published during the student's scholastic journey in your institute. They can print them or simply save them as PDFs. If you want to discuss any of the features explained in these videos, then please organise a meeting with your CSM to help you build your assessments accordingly.